Everyone, I'm Aksh, the project manager for assignment 8 from group 3, also known as mission control. My group members are Palumi, Fariha, Gilbert, Talani, and Quill. This assignment is about project leveling. In this assignment, we will be going through how our group leveled the original schedule, how we managed to reduce our hiring and firing costs, and by how much. And finally, we will be comparing the original schedule to the newly leveled schedule. To elaborate on our methodology, for our hiring and firing, we decided to go with a fixed amount when it comes to hiring. As you can see, for unskilled workers, we went with $500, and for skilled workers, we went with $1,000. This was an average for both type of workers from what we had researched. When it comes to firing costs, we decided to take a percentage as a severance, that would be 30%, multiplied by their hourly wage, and that would be then multiplied by the total amount of hours they would have worked. As you can see, the hourly wages are $20 per hour for unskilled workers and $40 per hour for skilled workers, respectively. When it comes to the project leveling, we carried out leveling by reducing the amount of hirings and firings by grouping together similar tasks. This would reduce the amount of costs incurred by repetitively hiring or firing someone and allow for a more efficient way of having the project completed. We will elaborate more on how we grouped this task together. So here we have a table of all of our activities and what their costs were for hiring and firing. As you can see on the left, the letters in the red are the critical path, and next to that we have the duration in days it would take for each activity to be completed. Of course, in the middle we have costs per day, original and leveled, and then total costs before and after leveling. On the right, more importantly, we have a table that consists of employees fired as tasks uncompleted. Actually, they do also include our hirings, but it's majorly focused on the amount we have fired. And this goes for each task. So as you can see in planning, we have hired 5 and 10. But there's this trend of reduction as you go down that table. And this is because we have managed to group most of the activities in such a way that we would have a reduced amount of reduced amount of firing and hiring of workers. And that would end up in a reduced amount of per day and total cost after leveling. Here we have the original schedule. As you can see, the days and costs per amount are listed. Just as an example, we would take the first 3, planning 5 days, hull and deck 35 days, and anchor 11 days. Next we have the original network, which is from our previous assignments. It is the same. And this is to highlight that, as you can see, the critical path takes 125 days to complete. Next, we have the level schedule. And as I had taken those first 3 examples from before, you can see planning has been unchanged, stayed the same to 5 days, and the costs have stayed the same as well. And that is because there was not much to level in planning, as it was pretty efficient as it was initially. But when it comes to hull and deck, you see it has gone down from 35 to 28 days. And this is because we were able to find a reduction in the amount of days it would have taken, and between hiring and firing costs, we've also seen a reduction in costs per day. And we also see that when it comes to propulsion and anchor, there has been a reduction on the propulsion end from 16 days to 14 days. And same thing goes to the cost as well of these. And it's a trend that we have seen throughout all of these activities. And this is because we have tried to group as many activities as we could together, allowing us to reduce the number of workers we would have fired, and keeping the workers that have the same kind of skills to complete those activities. Another example would be electrical and navigation that are put together, which would have the same kind of skilled and unskilled workers working on both types, such that we would not have to hire more/fire before another activity would start. Next, we have our network once it had been leveled, and as you can see at the bottom, the total days of completion for the critical path dropped from 125 days to 95 days. And to compare more on our original versus leveled schedule, as you can see on the original schedule, previously mentioned, it dropped down from 125 days to 95 days, but our complete project dropped from 179 days to 140 days. And this, of course, ends up being in a lower total cost because of a reduced duration. Next, we have our original costs versus total cost for each activity, before and after leveling, obviously. And there's a clear trend on most of them. As I said before, planning was pretty efficient for us, so that has seen no change. But the majority of the other activities have, and they have reduced quite considerably to give us a significant difference at the bottom of total costs, dropping from 270,000 to 261,000. Here we're comparing original total costs to level total costs, and total costs would include the cost of our supplies/materials, our indirect labor, which we went with 10% for, and the total came out to $517,606.83 for the original project, whereas for the leveled project it dropped down to $508,132.92. Therefore, to summarize our project, for the original project, we dropped down from 513,000 to 517,000 once it had been leveled. The total time taken on the critical path was 125 days, dropped down to 95 days, and the total time taken dropped down from 179 days to 140 days. Thus, it seems like we had done our leveling to quite an efficient manner, dropping our costs and duration taken, and working quite efficiently to plan out our activities and group them together. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it.